Hello guys, welcome to our channel Sarath Financial Info. So today I'll discuss about the blockbuster versus Netflix story. Like what was the tussle between these two, and blockbuster is no more a big company. So a couple of days ago, Reed Hastings, the co-founder and the long-time CEO of Netflix, stepped down from his role at the streaming giant Netflix. So in the 2 days, we will discuss about like how Netflix almost lost to the blockbuster and then in final won the war. So the story goes to 1997. At the time, VHS video home system or either VCR tape rental defined entertainment was the main source in the US. When people wanted to watch a movie, they would pop into their video store and browse through the library and pick up what they wanted. It was like grocery shopping. So you probably have no idea what is the VHS unless you are the 90s kids. So it's those big ugly black cassettes with reel that you had to insert into a player connected to the TV set. Ask your parent, they might have their wedding film probably came in the VHS cassette. So in the US, a company called Blockbuster dominated this movie renting business. At their peak, they had over 9,000 stores and made a staggering $6 billion in the revenue. It was an unstoppable force, or you could say, unfallable or too big to fall a company. Enter Reed Hastings, the man behind the Netflix. See, the Hastings had rented out a VHS of Apollo 13, a space movie about an abandoned mission to the moon, and he had forgotten to return it to the Blockbuster store. Meanwhile, Blockbuster store was tracking the delay closely. It charged a late fee of $1 a day. In fact, the late fee were extremely lucrative for Blockbuster. It fetched nearly $800 million a year. So forgetful folks like Hastings were its bread and butter. And when Hastings had to pay a $40 late fee, you can imagine he wasn't happy, and he knew that too many others like him hated paying these fees. So Hastings wanted to solve the problem, and on a car ride with the friend Mark Randolph, they thought, what if we build a business on the premise of zero late fees? Netflix was born with this idea. So Randolph's mother even gave them $25,000 to begin their business. Now, even with this money they raised, Netflix couldn't set up a single physical stores and compete with the blockbusters might. So it was unthinkable. They thought they would mail the movies to the people instead. Now mailing the VHS tape would have been hard. They were big and chunky and would have lost a lot of money to mail them. So what was the alternative? Well, an innovator called the DVD code on in 1997 and 98, a simple disc that would play videos. Sales were growing at a fast clip, so Hastings and Randolph took a punt on this. They found that they could ship DVDs to the people's home for just a 32 cent, and it was easy. But that still didn't solve the problem of the late fee. Well, they had another idea of a subscription model just like what we paid for the Netflix today. So for around 17.99 dollar a month, a customer could rent 3 DVD at a time from tens of thousands of the titles, and they could hold on to the rental for as long as they wanted and no more annoying late fees. And it was a game changer for them. But even then, competing against Blockbuster was proving harder than they thought. 3 years into the building Netflix, and the company only had 3 lakh subscribers, and it was losing money hand over fist. So our $50 million a year, while online renting might have been the future, physical rental were still the present. So Hastings and Randolph made a pitch to the Blockbuster for selling or buy out of $50 million business. So you focus on the physical stores and we will run the online business. So combine the power together. it will truly be the case of the whole being greater than the sum of its part. You can imagine what happened next. Blockbuster CEO John Antioco laughed it off with of that idea. He didn't see the tiny Netflix as a threat to the blockbuster behemoth. And guess what? Maybe he had been right. See, Blockbuster was one of the pioneer of the video streaming. In 2000, it actually teamed up with the Enron and the failed oil and gas giant that also had a broadband business to create an online video on demand service. It could have killed Netflix and we would have been watching movie on the Blockbuster today, but things didn't work out. The online business remained a side project for the Blockbuster and the deal collapsed within a year. Meanwhile, Netflix was growing slowly and steadily. It went public in 2002 and hit a 1 million subscriber mark in the 2003 same year, and it was growing. Blockbuster needed a change in their strategy. Its late fees were the one of the most hated thing on the planet or either in the USA. So in 2004, it killed the late fee business and embraced the internet, Blockbuster Online. So people could have easily rent DVDs online. You would have think that was a great move, right? Sure, it was the late to the party, but not completely out. But here is the deal. Going online was actually the nail in the coffin for the Blockbuster. So first nail in their coffin, without the lucrative late fees, Blockbuster is to lose the millions of dollars in the revenue. $800 million a year. So also it's needed to pump in another $200 million for a new online venture. Its owner, the media giant Viacom, didn't think this was the smart and it sold its shares. The second nail in 2006, Blockbuster launched a scheme that would allow an online subscriber to go to a Blockbuster store and exchange the DVD for free. It had might of its 9,000 stores and 99% of Americans lives within easy driving distance of these stores. So it made sense. And initially it worked for Blockbuster, but Netflix actually lost subscriber to the Blockbuster due to this. But it was a loss-making proposition. Each time a DVD was exchanged at the Blockbuster store, they lost $2. And it was the startup book of burning cash model to get market share. And the third and final nail, investor pressure. See, the Blockbuster wasn't a startup. It was a legacy business that had boatload of debt. It had borrowed a lot of money to expand their physical stores. It couldn't really burn cash. And remember, we said that Viacom had sold all its shares. Well, those shares were bought by the hedge funds. More specifically, Wall Street billionaires and activist investors. Carl Icahn picked up 10% of the Blockbuster. He wanted to bring the change. He said that going online was a fool errand. So he wanted Blockbuster to bring the lucrative late fees and he wanted the revenue to pay off its massive debt and boost the share price. Needless to say, it didn't work. It failed spectacularly. Blockbuster was crushed by its debt during the 2008 financial crisis and it was delisted from the New York Stock Exchange and eventually declared bankrupt after 2 years in 2010. Blockbuster failed and as they say, the rest in the history. The more nuisance reading of this is that it wasn't even Netflix that killed the Blockbuster, it was the massive amount of the debt and quest of the super fast growth. So maybe Netflix should make a documentary about this so that everybody can enjoy this story. So Netflix still have $20 DVD subscription model even after like completely online business. It earned around 182 million from the business in 2021. Thank you for watching it. Please like, share and subscribe and be in our touch to know good stories.